This is the second episode of Kathleen's Recollections. That's a lovely picture.
Isn't it?
So you've got to send this through now, have you?
I put it on the internet.
Are you going to have copies of it from?
Yeah. Well, you put it on the internet and then everybody can see it.
Oh, can they?
Yeah.
And where is your stick that you normally use?
I don't have it today, so we're just doing it like this today.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's nice.
We've had a question from Aidan, and Aidan asks, what about the dancers in the school hall and John Tim and the tobacco?
Oh, yeah. John Tim was a terrible heavy tobacco smoker. And John Tim was one of those ramblers. That's what they used to call the visiting men years ago, ramblers. And he always imagined that there was ghosts here, ghosts there, particularly around the school. So anyway, Roseanne and myself got a bit fed up with John Tim because you'd never hear him come and he'd be and he used to smoke the pipe and would smell the tobacco. Anyway, this night, Roseanne and myself decided we'll put the skits under John Tim and the ghosts around the school, because he used to tell everybody, and it was so convincing that people started to believe that it was true, that there was a ghost in the school. So I said to Roseanne, how about, I said, we won't go to the dance tonight. We'll miss the dance. You go to the back of the school. I'll go to the back of the school. You go to the front of the school. And sure, she says, but we'll miss him. No, because I said, he'll be coming up the road. I said, that's enough signal for us. So John Tim anyway came up the road and he started. So I had a flash lamp and I shone it because the back window and the front windows more or less came together, and I shone the light through the school. Oh, he was frightened to death, the poor man. He was so convinced that there was a ghost in the school. Oh, that's your phone.
That's my phone.
Anyway, Roseanne started running, and I said to her, where the hell are you going? She said, you frightened the shit out of me. I shouldn't have said that.
That's all right. They've heard that word before.
And she said, I got frightened. She said, why did you shine the torch? She said, you knew John Tim was coming. Well, he didn't go around the back of the school. He went up by Kathleen Ward's house, and we followed him. He was so convinced. And anyway, we met him at the bridge. And I said, hello, John. Roseanne was with me. Hello. I wouldn't go down there now if I were you. He said, the ghost. He said, is that large? I said, what ghost? Don't talk so stupid. He said, come on down to school. He said, we might meet him. I said, all right. So down we went. I sneaked up at the back of Kathleen Ward's house. She was out the back hammering a saucepan or a pot or something. And didn't she spot me? But she didn't know it was me. So I cut down through the fields as quick as I could. And who should I trap into but John Tim? He had fell in the gutter. Oh, hello, Kathleen, he said. Look what the ghost did to me, he said. I said, oh, John. I said, what are you doing in here? Well, he said, you know now, he said, I tripped and I fell. I was going to go in and ask Catherine for a cup of tea. And I said, why don't? But he says, I thought you were gone to the dance. He said, you and Rose. And he said, I seen a bike, he said, thrown on the road. And he said, I knew it was yours. And I was going to go back home and see if you were there. But he said, I thought I'd go down to the shop and get some tobacco. Well, he went down to the shop, got the tobacco, got up to the crossroads. We all met at the crossroads. John was telling them about the awful ghost, and one of the lads said, oh yes, John, we seen all the lights flashing around the school. And the devils they did, because we were shining the torch. Oh! So that was the crack about the dance and the school.
But we got a question from Kieran, who asks about when you came to Thallabawn, was Patrick and Andrew still there, or
No.
had they died?
Andrew had just died.
And tell me about them. What you were told, what you know.
Well, I didn't know much about Patrick and Andrew. All I knew that there was, I think that was around the trouble in Austin, but I didn't know that. There was the Gallaghers. You heard of us talking about the Gallaghers. And they had 3 dogs. And the dogs used to love going out in the tide. Well, I got the horse out and I wanted to gallop along the strand. And I asked Andy, this was Nancy's brother, when I got on the horse out on the, and there was a boat coming in with fish, well, the horse went mad because he hated the smell of fish. Well, the horse snuffled and snored, and I only had a little bridle to hold on to. So I had arranged with Andy to let the dogs out. Well, of course, the dogs, when the horse started galloping, they started following me, barking. And there was sheep up in the mountain, and the sheep came down. Oh, well, it was proper. Francis, when I never got killed that evening or drowned, I'll never know. Anyway, what happened? Well, the dogs thought that they were rounding up the sheep, and the tide was coming in.
And these were your dogs or the Gallagher's dogs?
There was 2 Gallaghers and one of ours.
Right.
But they were nice, quiet dogs. But if they seen sheep or cattle, they started barking and rounding up because they thought they were working at the time. Anyway, they got the sheep gathered up, and the dogs were barking. So I was shouting at them, and the tide was coming in. And one of the cattle went to go out in the water, and I was on the horse, and I thought, come on, we've got to stop this going out, he might get drowned. Well, as that animal went out into the water, the others went to follow him. So I galloped, stopped him, rounded him up, and Cap, the dog, this was Tommy's favourite. He was a border collie. He was a great dog. I said, look, split them sheep up. I said, Cap, they're going back to the hill. I said, I'm not gathering them. I said, I just want to save this heifer. I said, she's in calf. So I come on.
And the heifer was in the sea?
And the heifer was in the sea. So Cap went out swimming. She brought in the cow. Oh, I was delighted. Sending the horse. Well, I started laughing. Oh, then Andy appeared. Andy, I said, where are you going? He said, Tommy sent me back because he said he wondered where you and the horse went. Oh, sorry.
No, it's just the microphone.
Oh,
it's somewhere along there. Sorry, go on.
He said he was worrying about where you were going. Were you going home or were you going down to the Dove for sheep or what? I said, no. I said, I'm going to go home. Well, I went to go home, and anyway, the tide was in so deep. And I thought to myself, how the hell am I going to get out of here? So Andy and Nancy, they were up on the side of the hill. I shouted up to them, stay there. I said, I'll get out. So anyway, luckily, Grey Dick, oh, he was lovely. I loved that horse. And I said, no, come on. I said, we got to get out of here safe and sound. So what I done was I went down along the wires, I went along the path, up and onto the little hillock, and I got out of the water. Come on, I said, let's go home. Tommy was up on the hill shouting and whistling where we were and what were we doing. And, oh, anyway, we got home. I had the cows to milk. I had everything to do. So I got in anyway. Jessie said, where have you been? Oh, I said, we got stuck. I said, we were having a bit of fun. As per usual, she says. And whenever she was in a bad mood, she started. The humming started. So I said, no, look, I'm going to milk the cows. What about the tea? Oh, blow the tea. I said, we'll have the tea anytime. Oh, she said, Tommy's gone mad. She said, go out to meet him. And he's not in a very good mood. With you. I said, why me? Oh, because I cleared off and I should have done this and I should have done that. And I said, where's that blasted Paddy Hughes? I said, isn't he doing anything? I said, why isn't he milking the cows and that? And Tessie said, well, I don't know. She said, unless you ask him. Well, anyway, I met Tommy. Tommy said, what have you been doing? He always called me Kitty. Where have you been, Kitty? He said. I've been wondering. He said, look, put the horse away, milk the cows. No. I said, I won't. What's Paddy Hughes doing? Let him milk the cows. I'm not milking them. But he said, you better ask him then. So I brought the horse up into the yard. The cows were lined up for milking. Oh, sorry.
Don't worry.
So Tommy came up after me. He said, what are you going to do, Kathleen? Where's Paddy Hughes? I said. So, and how I'm here. Well, I said, you better milk the cows because I said, I'm not milking them. Well, I milked one cow. And Paddy Hughes was giving out and going on that he had to do everything. And then, well, Francis, he was stood over there like that. I had half a bucket of milk. And I said, stand back. I said, and wait for this. And I slapped it right between his two eyes. Oh, Tessie felt so sorry for poor Paddy Hughes. Sorry, my eye, I said. I said, he hasn't done nothing. I said, he hasn't milked a cow. But she says, Kathleen, did you waste all the milk on him? I said, it was well wasted. I thought they would have gone mad at me. And Nancy and Bernadette and Andy were killing themselves. Oh, if you ask Andy, did you ever meet Andy? Oh, he was nice. Oh, we had some fun together.
American Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you met him?
Well, we went over. Do you remember years ago?
That's right.
In the 80s.
Didn't he
I was
tell you
young.
any of them stories?
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, he knew all. He knew lots of stories. Believe you me.
Okay.
They were good stories.
So now tell us about the Briars.
Well, Tommy, John and the wives used to come down on holidays. Nancy, Bernadette, and Andy. Those are their three children. And we used to always sleep up in the garret. And Paddy Hughes used to sleep up there. So anyway, the girls were up to some mischief. So Nancy went out to the barn and she got a pedal of a bike. Well, God almighty, with all the hullabaloos, wonder we didn't kill someone. So she brought in the pedal of the bike. Bernadette came in with some briars and nettles. And she said, what are you going to do with them, Nancy? Well, she said, we put them in Paddy's bed because it was dark. Well, the poor lad nearly cut the arse out of himself. Oh, Tommy nearly threw us all out. And Tessie told me off blind. She said, do you realise, she said, the dangers, she said, that you could cause. I said, what dangers? Serves him right, I said, for all the mischief, I said, he carried out. I said, he pinches my bike, I said, every Saturday, Sunday night, I said, when I'm going to the dances. Well, that's no reason why you should be so spiteful to him. And then there was 2 nights after, when Nancy had put the bloody pedals, the bike, 2 pedals in the bed, and a thing for fixing shoes, what they called the last, where the shoes used to fit in on this steel iron. Didn't it fall out of the bed on the floorboards? Well, it made such a clatter, it woke up nearly everyone in the house. You got up to mischief, Francis, if you got up to half of what I got up to in Nancy and Bernadette. Well, but it was great fun. It was.
Good.
There was another...
Sorry, Mum.
There was another time...
Hang on. No, start again. Sorry. No, do it again. Sorry. Go on.
There was another time Tommy had an old bike, and it wasn't much good. So Nancy was learning to ride the bike. We went back to the field this Sunday evening. Again, how dangerous it was. We got on the top of the hill, sat Nancy on the bike, no brakes, no nothing, down the hill. Well, she went, and wasn't the gate at the bottom of the hill shut? Well, I thought she'd go through the gate, but luckily she didn't. There was an opening to the left. Going in, you know the big door as you go out on the White Strand? She was able to go in there on the bike, and she fell off of there. She had 2 big cut knees. Oh, but sure, the grown-ups were as bad at mischief as what we were. They were, Francis.
Yeah.
But we had to have fun. I must tell you about Tom Jimity.
Yeah.
Well, he was the laziest bugger that ever walked under the sun. He wouldn't get up till 12 o'clock in the day. And if there was a cow matching, he'd bring her to our house maybe at 10 o'clock at night. Well, I hated him. I couldn't stand the man. Anyway, Tommy decided he'd have an early night this night. And Tessie and myself and him, we said the rosary. Then we had supper. Well, it was about 10:10. And big hammering came to the door. Jessie said, who can that be this time of night? Well, I said, whoever it is now, and I brought the broom out, the brush. I opened the door, and who was it but Tom Jimity? I brought a cow to the bowl. Well, I said, you can take the bloody cow home now. I said, can't you? I'm not going out looking for a bull this time of night. Addie, you will, sure, it's very early. So, anyway, Tessie came out, she said, who's it? I says, Tom Jimity, who do you think? Bring in a cow. I said, this time of night to the bull. I said, I've told him. Oh, she said, don't tell him to go home. So, anyway, come on in, Tom. She said, where's the cow? I've tied her to the gate post, he said. And she said, you better go and look for the bull. To me. So off I went. Sure, I didn't go for no bull at all. I stayed round the barn. I let the cow go. I went on the cow. And I came back about maybe 25 minutes after. I went into the house. Now, Tom, I said, off you go. I said, the bull is out there. Do what you like. I said, I'm going to bed. And don't come here again at this time of night. I said, I got to be up in the morning, blah, blah, blah. Tess was killing herself laughing. He went out and he came back rapping at the door. Where is the bull? I said, he's out there. I said, in the yard somewhere. I said, has he met up with the cow yet? Well, I think he has. But sure, I had let the cow go. There was no cow when the bull arrived. Sure, the bull didn't arrive at all. There was no bull, there was no cow, no nothing. And we used to call him Black Dan, so I knew Black Dan well. He's still alive and he never got married. If ever we go home again, I'll show you who Black Dan was.
Oh, sorry, Mum. That's it.
Black Dan.
And I take it he was white.
Oh, he was. But he had jet black hair.
Oh, I see.
That's why they used to call him Black Dan.
Right.
Yeah. And Una Jimity. You've heard of Una. That was Tom's sister. She was a nun. And of course, Una was holier than thou.
Keep going.
And anyway, Black Dan asked her out for a date.
While she was a nun or before she was a nun?
After she was a nun. Well, this is how the story goes anyway. Now, rest it on my knee there.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, the lads took the piss out of them. And Dan and Una went out on a date. I think they went into Louisburg to a dance. And when they came out in the dance, they had 2 flat tires on the bikes. Oh, well, that was right up the lads' street, wasn't it? Oh, that's all Black Dan could do was puncture the bikes, you know.
So what do you know of Pat and Andy? So were they not, Patrick and Andy, were they not, Andrew, were they not well?
They were brothers.
And was
Andrew had a broken leg. Patrick, I don't know what was wrong with Patrick.
So was he involved in the early
feuds? He was.
Yeah.
But they're all buried in Killeen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
remember, I was only 5 when I went in there, Francis. Patrick was lovely. Andrew, he was ill, the poor lad, and he was irritated. He was frustrated because he couldn't get out and about.
Like, who was there when you were there? Was it just Tommy and his parents?
Tommy and his parents. Well, then, Tommy didn't... Nobody knew Tommy was courting or anything. So Alice took ill very suddenly in the end of November, and she died on the 7th of December. Well, then there was a big funeral and all the rest of it. Then Andy died. Oh yeah. Tommy got married in the February. That's right. Because I came home from school and Andy gloated, greeted me and gloated. He's gone off. Who has? Tommy. Where's he gone? Oh, he's gone off to get married.
So had Mary already left to go to America, or was she working locally?
She left to go to America. She had a job. She used to come home on holidays. She used to go back when her holidays was up. But when she'd come home, oh, she was acting the great big Yank and pretending she had a lot of money. And, oh, God almighty.
And but did Bridie used to come home quite?
Oh, Bridie used to cause all the rows. Oh, she used to cause all the rows. Oh, my word. And Auntie Bede, Tommy, and Tessie used to row. And when poor Austin and the wife came there, oh my God, there were nearly stand-up fights. But Wynne was always the peacemaker. She was always the peacemaker.
So we talked about the brothers and sisters. So what about that you mentioned Dan before, Austin's wife. So what about, let's start with Ted. What do you remember about Ted?
Bridie's husband.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a gentleman. Of course, he was a German prisoner of war. You know that. And he was missing for years.
Okay. And tell us about, so you're saying about, Bridie and Ted.
All Bridie and Ted, they came home on holiday. There was Cyril, Bridie, Ted. We had 19 for dinner one Sunday in our house in Thallabawn. And of course, there was Ted, Cyril. Who was the other man, did I say?
Yeah, Pat. Was it?
No,
Austin?
no, I wasn't married
Okay.
then.
Oh, sorry. John?
John, yes. And the three of them used to piss off into Roseburg every other night, giving it this. So somebody said to John, "You be careful now, Mr. Staunton, because the guards are about tonight." Well, sure, he said, "What's it got to do with me?" He said, "I'm a bloody guard myself," he said.
What about Ted and Cyril? Tell us
Cyril.
about Cyril.
Cyril was very nice. Because I should have been over here for Cyril's wedding. Because she got married down to St. Joseph's.
In Bristol?
Yeah, and to win. I don't know now, was it Father Hughes that married her or who? So, Cyril and Ted. Actually, Cyril was the cause of getting me over here to England from Ireland, because they could see how hard I was working over there, and they thought Cyril had a chat with Auntie Wynne, and Ted had a little conference. I knew they were up in the parlour, but I didn't know what they were discussing. I thought it was family chat. And Cyril says, "Well, that's all right." He said, "Wynne, you and I," said, "will pay." He said, "and bring Kathleen over." And that's how I come to England. And I came to England in 1957.
Okay.
Oh, first of all, I came to Liverpool. I didn't like it. Then I went down to...
Why didn't you like it?
I just didn't like it. It was too...
Full of Liverpudlians?
Yes. So she said, "Wynne wants you down in Bristol immediately." So I made my way to Bristol, and Wynne had an interview arranged at the hospital, and that's how I come to stay here. Cyril was lovely. He used to say to me, he used to bring me sweets. Anyway, I went down to Bristol for a fortnight's holiday, and there I stayed.
And so when you went back with Dad, and so back then you would have had some of the same people
Of course,
visiting
I was
you.
courting Paddy Heenahan then. I was engaged to him, and I think they all thought I would get married.
Huh?
Huh?
Who's Paddy Heenahan?
The lad from Bundara. He was a cousin of Tessie's.
Okay.
Kieran knew him well.
Okay.
And they used to keep the lodge out in Dula, out by the lakes, do you know. Because Tommy, first time I went home from England on holiday, Tommy said, "Are you going to marry him?" I said, "Indeed I am not." I said, "I got a good job," I said, "in England, I'm going to look after it." Here, he said, "Well done."
And so when we used to go back on holiday years later with Dad, back then, I remember there would be people like Mary, occasionally Austin. There would always be Wynne. There would
yes.
Always be Bridie.
Oh, Dad got on fine with them. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The relationship was great there, really. And they worked hard when they came home because they had to do the haymaking and everything. And Tommy'd be out, sure, boy, come on, there's haymaking to be done. It was good fun, Francis, and it was healthy. And even though it was hard slavery work, I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the lads more.